In the previous demo, we took some existing Bootstrap CSS and started to gradually refactor it to use Sass. So if we want to perform a minor restyling using Bootstrap, this approach might be fine, but it would be better to start off with a fully Sass-based version of Bootstrap to save us having to do the refactoring. Luckily, if we head over to GitHub, here we can download an official Sass port of Bootstrap. So here we're at GitHub twbs/bootstrap Sass. So first off, we're going to go and download the zip file of this repository. We're not going to use all of the repository, so I'm just going to say open with Windows Explorer. And we're going to go inside here, and we're going to go into the vendor folder, into assets, and into style sheets. So we're going to copy all of the contents here of the style sheets folder, including this Bootstrap folder here. So let's copy this and head back to Visual Studio. And we're just going to go and find the location of this content folder on disk. So I'll open folder in File Explorer. And we're going to delete these two Bootstrap files and paste in the contents from GitHub. And if we head back to Visual Studio, we just refresh this. And we need to include these files that we've just downloaded. So we'll just right click and include in project. We can see now the contents of this Bootstrap folder. And there's a lot of stuff in here. We won't look at all of these Sass files in depth, but we will use the variable Sass file in just a moment here. So let's just close this up. And if we open up our Bootstrap Sass file here, we can see that it's just importing all of these other individual files. So if we save this now, we get our Bootstrap CSS and our minified CSS. So if we run this website now, we're now running an ASP.NET MVC Bootstrap-based application, but instead of just plain CSS, we're basing the styles on Sass now, which means we can start taking advantage of the benefits of Sass. So let's start to retheme our ASP.NET MVC application by changing some Sass variables. So if we head down here into the Bootstrap folder and head down to the variables Sass file that we saw a minute ago, and we'll just open this up, and we can see a whole heap of variables here, including these ones at the top defining colors. So we can see we've got these grey color variables in addition to the brand colors here. The grey colors here are based on black being lightened a different number of %. So first off, we're going to introduce a new variable here. We're going to call this root grey, and initially we'll set it to the same value here, and then we'll go and use this root grey variable everywhere that this fixed color variable is used here. So I'm just using Alt-Shift here to drag a column and then paste root grey in. So we haven't actually changed anything at the minute. If we save this and then go and run our site, we get the same grey scheme. So let's go and change this root grey variable now to something else. So I'm going to change this to a colour that's almost black, but contains the tiniest amount of purple pink here. So if we save this now, it will regenerate our CSS. And if we have a look at this in the browser now, rather than being based on grey, the colour scheme, or the theme, is based on this purple pink. And we can see the changes here from grey to this purple pink. So we've still got our blue hover here, and our contact form here still has these blue links. So let's change some more variables now to continue to theme our application. So we've got our grey, we'll just leave this root grey. So let's go and change this brand primary colour. So at the minute, we can see it's this blue, and we're going to change this to be more of a green. So this brand primary color is used throughout the rest of these Sass files, which go to make up the entirety of the Bootstrap styles. So just by changing this one brand primary variable, it will affect the styles of many different things in our application. So let's run this. We can see now our button is green, and if we hover over it, we get our darkened hover color. So we didn't have to change any other variables because the Sass version of Bootstrap is already using color functions to create these hovers for us. And if we have a look, for example, in the contact page now, the links that were styled blue before here are now styled green, as these also use the primary brand color variable. So that's how we can replace our Bootstrap CSS with this Sass-based version, which allows us to retheme our application by simply changing variables defined in the variables Sass file here.